Good morning, everybody. Like Jarkko said, my background is a bit different, and at Stora Enso it was also a big question, what does this food man do with the carton board? But if we look about my background and what I'm bringing to this table is the learnings from the fast-moving consumer goods industry. So basically we're all facing the same issues when it comes to the consumers. There is a lower consumer confidence to any brands. There has been so many scandals. Consumers are skeptical. How does this brand really talk to me, and can I really trust it? There is a clear downtraining. Focus is very much on promotions. Retailers are becoming stronger and becoming brands. And then the brands, in order to get the license to be on the shelves, has to be more promoting the products in store. National brands are focusing on short-term incentives or marketing promotions without any effects. Private labels have the increased pressure. In some countries, like this country, there is already close to 70% share of the private label brands. Trade marketing is only focusing on price. E-commerce is something that this industry in fast-moving consumer goods, but also everywhere, is really questioning what is our role in this market. How do we act when consumers are not having a dialogue with the retailer or the salesperson and we are more online? Digitalization as such for paper industry has been given a huge impact how we read less papers, we see less commercials and spend time in front of the TV differently. And we consumers are well engaged, well traveled, and trying to eat ethically and in a healthy way, health being one of those key drivers moving forward. So from the brand owner's point of view, it has never been as difficult as it is today to build a relationship with my consumer. Basically, already the consumers say only 20% of the brands are important for my life, rest I don't really care. So for brands, it is all about creating conversation with the consumer. How do I create a collaboration with my consumers? And how do I do co-creation with my consumers? This is the big picture, and from Stora Enso point of view, we know everything about the forestry. But we've been very far away from the consumer. Well, at the end of the day, the consumer is buying brands based on their values, based on their perception, how do I choose products and services. And now when we look into the mega trends, we clearly see sustainability and environmental impact is giving a much higher importance how I choose. So when it comes to packaging, the consumer needs to and wants to know how is that giving me a sustainable point of view? What is my carbon footprint? Where does this material come, which this product is backed with? Well, then we come to the topic of who has the best information about us consumers. Brand owners have been doing a lot of research. When I started many years ago, we were always doing marketing studies, interviewing consumers and trying to understand what's really going on in our heads. Well, today, the retailers already have the power. They have introduced the loyalty cards, they know my family size, they know my birthday, they know what I'm shopping. They send me all different kind of direct materials. Thank you, Jari, for visiting us. Jari, it's your birthday, we want to give you that and that. The challenge for retailers is they only use 5% of the data, and they have not really cracked the code. How do we use this data better in order to respond to the consumer needs? Well, brand owners, and I purposely have put into picture, for example, McDonald's and Starbucks, they are obviously directly in contact with the consumers, but they have not started using the data. Who is buying the coffee, who is buying the burger, so it is still, traditional way of selling. Whereas the big brand owners, how do I get a contact with my consumers? How do I know what the consumer is thinking about? Our traditional customer has been the converter. We've been selling the board to the converter. Well, the key challenge for the converters is, who do I work with? Where are the trends? How do we adjust our thinking in this area? And that is giving us in Stora Enso that the entire teams in every part of the company needs to get more interested about the consumer. How is the consumer decisions impacting our future? If you think about the paper, when we invest a paper machine, the life cycle is 50 to 60 years. Look at the paper change in this digitalization. All of a sudden, we have overcapacity, huge overcapacity. What Jarkko said, now everybody's converting those machines to something else. So packaging is becoming more and more interesting to everybody. And not to forget the law point of view. European Commission is coming with the new legislation about the circular economy, how recycling, how non-renewable materials are taxed, how nothing is to be put on grounds as a dumping ground. The environmental impact is pushing everybody on their toes. How do I choose the materials when I pack my goods? As I said, the megatrends are nothing new. They've been the same almost all my career. But what is changing now is the consumers, and especially when we go to the demographics, kids born after 1990s, they do choose products and services based more on their environmental values. They are more interested about how is this impacting my life, my choices, how I choose products from the environment point of view. And basically, packaging matters to consumers. So we need to use many lenses. We need to understand the trends, the consumers, how does the brand play a role, and in which category. What is this category supposed to do? Some categories are losing the purpose. Category management is very much a creation of a supply chain for retailers. We need to question, is this category really responding to the consumer as the consumer sees it today? There are three clear trends when we look into the consumers. We are becoming more individualistic. I am an individual, treat me as an individual. The other one, I want control. I don't trust the marketeers. I want control. I receive messages when I want them and from who I want. I choose my channels. I work with infant nutrition. When you look the newborn babe, the mothers, the parents of newborn babies, the best information is still my mother. It's not what are the facts, but it's my mother who's helping me with the right choices. And the third one is, I do not trust marketeers. They just sending me a message, and I want to be in control what is really the truth. And information is not power anymore. Information is everywhere. So consumers want more transparency in packaging. But does that mean transparent packaging? So there are different brands playing different roles. And this is where we need, in the world of packaging, we need the marketeers to wake up. How do we use the packaging as our most important media? How do we contribute or communicate our values, what this brand is standing for, in a transparent manner for those consumers? So, main factors impacting the future demand of packaging. So, as I said, consumers are more aware and active about the packaging. 33% of consumers have bought a product because of the packaging. But 54% have not bought the product because of packaging. 80% of the consumers prefer carton board as they consider that to be the most environmental friendly. Renewability is already a well-known concept with consumers. As I said, brand owners need to rethink, how do I communicate with my customers or consumers? All the packaging I'm showing here is our board. And here you see how we start playing a different role, how packaging is the key information, the key trigger to get the attention of consumers. We see around the globe, and these are Poyry numbers, how we measure the growth. So we estimate that the market in carton board market will grow with 9 million tons by 2020. Key growth is coming from the increase of the middle class. There is still a huge amount of consumers who do buy the milk in hinks or not protected packaging. And once you're influential, once you have a money where you can choose, how do I spend my money, I want food safety. Food safety is one of those triggers that I want to serve my family the best way. Yes, there is an oversupply, more paper machines turning into board and trying to do packaging. When we look at the folding box board, which is the general packaging, we clearly say, especially in China, a huge oversupply, and it's already a fact also here in Europe. And when we look at the other packaging materials, we see plastic is still growing faster than the board. But when we look a bit deeper, we start seeing plastic is not growing anymore as fast as it used to be. So we see the board growth roughly 4.3%, and plastic, different parts of the plastic are growing, some a bit faster, some less. So the consumer's point of view, remind me, why should I choose your product? And this universe is huge. Think yourselves when you do your shopping. What packaging must do, we must stop the consumer. We must get the attention of the consumer. We need to hold the consumer's attention and close the deal. This is the nightmare of the marketeers. How does my packaging attract the right audience at the right time? So now everybody's running in all right directions. What I would say, running faster is only valuable if the direction is right. You need to get into the details. You need to understand who is my consumer I'm trying to approach and where do I want to innovate. How is my innovation driving for the right audience, and how do I play this in terms of my innovation agenda? As I said, we study a lot about the consumers, trying to understand where we are in the packaging universe. Consumers do think about the materials and how they impact their choices and how they choose products. But when we do the surveys, well, I'm saying we consumers are the best liars. When I'm giving my opinion, my value, I never eat hamburgers, I only eat healthy. Well, we know that's not true. So we, in this business, also need to read what's between the lines. How is the trends that we consumers are not really even seeing today, how they will impact our life? If you think about my home country, Nokia was first with iPad. They did a mistake in this area. They asked the consumers, do you see the value of iPad? Well, we consumers said, no, we don't. Well, the competitor didn't ask the question, and we know the answer already. So innovation, what is it all about? Innovation needs to drive differentiation. Innovation needs to create value, and it needs to generate growth. I've always liked Steve Jobs many ways, but I like this sentence: innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. And to make it really simple, it's all about the relevance added to differentiation. There's your increased value. So from Stora Enso point of view, this is also important. How do we see innovation as a key enabler? How do we differentiate ourselves in this evenly increasing or intensifying competition? And how do we do the choices where we want to focus? We believe in 3 areas. Well, microfiber cellulose, that's where we believe we break the cellulose into small parts so that we can do
a board that's visible board. You don't need plastic. We say everything made out of tree is our future, and our enemy is plastic. You don't need any non-renewable materials. You can do everything out of the tree. So MFC is already in industrial scale where we use that between the board as source reduction, and our aim is to launch products with windows where the board is the window. Barrier coating, you said it already in the introduction, there is happening a lot. In this area we need kind of root or governance model. What is a biobarrier? How do we define that? And there the legislators need to get into this discussion. What is a biobarrier? How is it used, in example, in food packaging? Because food and food safety is not to be questioned. And there are now Wild West coming with all kinds of bioplastics, biobarriers, biostories, which not necessarily reflect the reality. And then we believe strongly on intelligent packaging. Intelligent packaging is the way how the packaging can be interactive with the consumers. With the antennas, already today, all the ingredients, allergies, how I create recipes, how do I drive the communication with the packaging, with the refit existing technology is nothing new. It is just a question how we marketeers create and drive that forward. But it has also required for us to see how do we work internally. We have been in silos within the company. We need to find the consumer in the heart of everything. How do we do and how do we kick off projects? Innovation is not just about the product. We need to see 360 degrees. We need to see what to innovate and where to innovate or how to innovate. So it is all about understanding the route to market, using all the tools you have available, and that needs to be in the heart of your innovation thinking. For us, as I said, MSC, the microfiber cellulose, is one of those key drivers forward. Here you see the transparent cellulose, breaking the fiber into nano or micro levels, you have visible board. Biobarriers, how do we create food safety without using plastic? How do we create already, when we talk about food packaging, replacing plastic in this area? We are well ahead, and as we've been working long with the liquid board, I mean milk cartons, the same applications can be applied everywhere in the packaging arena. And the intelligent packaging is all about using the mobile phones or using the technology. This is an example of a client where it is about champagne, and it can sense if you're nervous. Is it a romantic dinner? We can keep, or the brand owner can help the guy to fix a romantic dinner with your dearest. For example, there are many opportunities in this area. So, what we are saying, the board is the future, and the future is now. Thank you.